Welcome to another edition of Bowie TV's Sports Spotlight. During this hour, we're bringing you highlights from some of our shows focused on all things sports in the DMV. Please be sure to give us a follow on all of our social media platforms. First up on Pitt Sports Zone, Alabama A&M utility player Tervell Johnson talks about his journey ahead of the HBCU Swingman Classic. On Legacy Maker Sports, Darrell Owens sits down with sports analyst and former NFL player Nate Burleson for a conversation on his life, career, and more. Lastly, on Washington Commanders Update, hear the insights on newly signed DB Raul Douglas from Candi Waller on all Burgundy and gold Errrything. Also, be sure to watch as the Commanders announce the special number retirement ceremony this upcoming season for Washington legend John Riggins. Don't go anywhere, and as always, enjoy this week's episode of Bowie TV's Sports Spotlight.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Y'all know what it is. I'm your host, Pitt Sports Zone, where we give you all of the best content, up-to-date content, in-game content, out-of-season content with the coaches, players, whether it's the MEAC, the SEAC, the SWAC, or the CIAA. We bring you, and don't forget the great photos that we give you out of Pitt Sports Zone. But as a whole, Bowie TV is where you want to get all your sports news, where we don't just continue and give you coverage for HBCUs. We give you that broad coverage on professional sports as the Commanders, the Ravens, the Wizards, and more. But today, we are continuing our coverage of the 2026 MLB HBCU Swingman Classic, highlighting some of our best talent in the HBCU baseball sport. Today's guest is none other than Alabama A&M standout, Mr. Tervell Johnson. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for joining me. And before we jump in with Tervell, I got to give a little cameo because Tervell, who's earned the opportunity to showcase his game on one of the biggest stages in HBCU baseball, even more special, he's continuing a family tradition, following the footsteps of his brother, who also played in the Swingman Classic and is now and was one of the top draft picks a few years ago. How you doing today?
Doing good, man. Excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Listen, I'm excited, right? I'm excited and I'm jealous. I said this to KJ yesterday, right? Because man, what I had loved, but that's the great thing about sports and life. It evolves, right? More opportunities come, different things get in place. And now, specifically, without telling my age, social media was just starting when I was in college. So, I was using MySpace and Black Planet. Not too many people, know what that is. And the fact that you raise your eyebrows like that lets me know. You don't got to do it like that. They don't need to know that. But no, man. So congratulations again, man, on being selected. That's a tremendous honor. And before we jump in, I want to go ahead and get you some icebreakers, just like I did KJ, man. We started off with something simple. If you can, tell me what's your favorite food.
Favorite food? It would probably have to be, some type of pasta. I feel like, it's real versatile, so you can switch it up,
Okay. You pasta. I mean, KJ said all he needed some Chick-fil-A.
That too. I like Chick-fil-A.
Okay. What's your favorite travel destination or a dream destination you would like to go to?
So actually, it used to be Tokyo, Japan, but I actually was able to go out there last year to watch my brother play in the qualifier cup for the WBC. So that was a blessing going out there. Like, it was amazing, bro. Like, I feel like I don't have to go nowhere else, bro. That was my dream trip. So it was a blessing to be able to experience that for sure.
Absolutely. And I'm sure, one experience is just the experience of getting to watch your brother, play a sport that you love dearly as well. The critiques and the conversations. Man, what was you thinking on that? It runs deep.
Yeah, for sure. We've been at it since birth, so
Listen, I already know I got three brothers, and we all play baseball. And some of us play football, so we definitely know what it's like to Be that iron sharpen iron,
Yeah,
however
you just
means necessary.
exactly. That's sick though. You got three other brothers. I don't know a lot of people. You know, you like one of the few people I know that actually had, you know, like similar amount of brothers to me, and stuff like that. It's always cool though. You know, people don't understand like just that dynamic with, you know, a bunch of boys in the house playing the same sport, you know, grinding and all of that. So it's definitely special though. You know how it is. So
Absolutely. And for me, I'm the oldest, so I had to make sure them eyes be watching.
yeah, for sure.
Okay. And then lastly, if you can, who was a role model of yours or someone you looked up to, other than your brother, or any other siblings you may play? Who was someone that you looked up to in the baseball world that you kind of modeled your game after?
Um, you know, in the baseball world, I don't know. I really couldn't give you a definitive answer. It just I was just influenced by a lot of guys growing up. I kind of watched. I'm a big Dodgers fan, so I watched Matt Kemp,
Okay.
Juan Pierre, you know, all those Hanley Ramirez. I watched those
Yeah,
guys growing up. So like those were the guys. Puig, like they made the game fun of me and made me want to like
I
keep playing the game.
swear.
But there's a lot of guys in my community here in Atlanta, you know, doing their thing right now that I kind of look up to. You know, just pick their brain, and you know, it's a lot of names. So you know, it's not really a definitive answer, but you know, you know, I know a little bit of ball. So if I had to pick one player though, I would say Puig. You know, growing up, that was one of my favorite guys, and Matt Kemp, he was one of my favorite players too.
Yeah. And, for me, I'm from Pittsburgh, so I'm everything Pittsburgh: the Penguins, Pirates, Panthers, Steelers.
Yeah,
And I got a shirt that says I was a Pirates fan before being a Pirates fan was cool. So, for me, it was when Jim Leland was our GM. We had Doug Drabat,
right.
Andy Vance, like Jay Vale, Barry Bonds, Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah.
So back then. But again, it's not about me. We're gonna go ahead and push it to you, and get you into the questions. And again, congratulations on being selected for the MLB HBCU Swingman Classic. What was your reaction when you got that call, and what does that opportunity? What does this opportunity mean to you?
Bro, I mean, like first and foremost, it's a blessing. Like I couldn't do any of this without, you know, God, without Jesus Christ, without my faith, and just being grounded in the Word. You know, like it's something that
Yeah,
I didn't necessarily pray for this, but I prayed for success, and I prayed for a platform and opportunity, and you know, it's come in different ways, not exactly how I pictured it, but like this is a great opportunity. My coach definitely he reached out to me one morning, you know, a couple weeks ago, was like, hey, like congratulations, and I just rolled over, went back to sleep because it was early. Coach Luke be up early in the morning, so he takes me early, like congrats, and you know, I got back to him, gave him a call, and you know, we talked about it, and it was just a huge blessing, bro. Like it's just, you know, a great opportunity to go back out there and play with the best guys in the SWAC and the MEAC and all the, you know, other HBCU conferences. So I'm just really excited. Definitely just to play on this stage too. This is a great event. It's a, you know, a pretty big stage. So I love to be, you know, on big stages so I can, you know, perform. That's why I feel like I perform my best at. So it's a real blessing.
absolutely. And before we go further with the questions, just to let them, you are a utility player, correct? Which
Correct.
means that you really can play any position almost, across the gamut, which makes you a very expensive and very a hot commodity, right? Because
Yeah, for sure.
not too many people understand what that means to go from center field to third base, or to
Mhm.
go from catcher to shortstop, or from
Right.
left field to second. um, what is it that you gravitate about being able to play the many different positions? Because that also says a lot about your IQ to be able to play those
Mhm.
different positions, because like I said, they all require something different.
Yeah, 100%. Just I mean, I just grew up playing all the positions, like just, you know, growing up playing ball. I played outfield, you know, moved to the infield, corner, middle. So I just grew up, you know, playing all over the field, and I kind of, you know, coaches always wanted to find a position for me and want to, want to put him here, solidify him here. But I kind of just embraced the fact that, I can do everything these last couple of years. And I just bought into the fact that, like, hey, the game is changing. And, for me to just stand out, kind of pull away from, the crowd a little bit, I need to be able to be versatile. I need to be able to just be able to go out any day of the week, wherever they need me. And I've seen like how, there's guys at the big league level now, they'll play a shortstop and in the left field, and, they'll play a corner, infield, corner, outfield position throughout the week. So I feel like just honing in on, different skills and different tools is going to carry me in this game for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're 100% correct, especially being able to adapt. And Coach Tomlin always say your best ability is your availability. And for you, you have many availabilities at your disposal.
Right.
We kind of touched on it earlier. We stating that your brother played in the HBCU Swingman Classic, and was a top draft pick a few years ago. How much has his journey motivated you and prepared you for this moment? And has he shared any input, information, expectations, things that you can look forward to?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, he's like played in many just levels and on many stages, and he's performed. And I've been able to watch him do it. So it's just always been like a motivating factor to me, just to be able to, like, hey, like it's near, it's close, it's very feasible. Like everything that I dream of is like, I can just see it within this generation of my family, so everything feels so close. It's just a matter of, locking in and being focused on what I need to do. But just being able to watch him grow as a ball player, be able to watch him, progress in his career has been great. And it also has been very, like I said earlier, motivating. Like it keeps me going, being able to see, my brother do his thing and chase after his dreams. And not only me, but we got two other brothers. So I'm pretty sure that keeps them motivated to it, whatever they're doing. Just making our parents proud, going out here and glorifying God, and, just walking in whatever he has for us. Just being able to see my brother do that has just been great, for sure.
Now, do your other brothers, do they play baseball too?
Yeah, so all of us grew up playing baseball. My oldest brother, he played about bat. He coaches now, but we all grew up playing ball, not just baseball, but like football, basketball, all type of sports.
Absolutely. So parents was always on the go.
Oh yeah. We always somebody playing somewhere at some day.
Right.
That's how
we got split up this week.
Exactly.
In this game, you represented Alabama, A&M, and HBCU baseball on a national stage. What message do you hope scouts and fans take away after watching you compete?
For sure. Like I said, this is an honor. Just being able to represent my school. We got a lot of great players on our team that easily could have, been in this game and represented us, but just to be able to be among, those three is a huge honor. So just going out here and representing Alabama A&M the right way and representing, HBCU baseball the right way is my key goal this weekend. You know what I mean? Just to show everybody that, hey, we're more than capable. The talent is out there. You know what I mean? Like I played with and against some great ball players this year in the SWAC, and it's real talent. Like it's honestly really competitive baseball. It's really good baseball. You just got to get there. You got to get there to see it for yourself. That's what I tell everybody. Like you just got to be there to watch it and to experience it, because baseball is baseball, but it's definitely a different brand of baseball when you got 40 black kids running around the field. It's very exciting. It's different. It's more fast paced. It's cool. So I think that's the main thing this weekend is we just go out here, play the game how we play throughout the week, throughout the season. Like every game is exciting. Friday through Sunday, every game is exciting in the SWAC. So just being able to go out there this weekend on a huge stage and do the same thing is going to be, it's going to be great.
Man, listen, when I covered this year, I covered the HBCU softball invitational, right? One thing that when I tell you, I can only imagine what the competition is like at the men's level because the competition at the women's level is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And the chance.
they're live the whole game. They don't stop. It's
It's
a
brutal.
party out there, bro. Seriously.
And with this opportunity, every player brings something unique. What do you believe is the biggest strength that you'll showcase during the Swingman HBCU Swingman Classic?
Me personally, I think my biggest strength is just my professionalism. Like I go about my business the right way. I show up. I look the part. I play the part. I play the game the right way. I just want to go out there and just be able to show every scout, every coach, everybody that I'm ready for, the next level. That's my biggest thing. That's the statement I want to push this weekend is that like, hey, I'm the guy that, you need to invest some time and some effort in because, the tools are there. Like it's really real. And, just go out there and have fun and, just go out there and continue to do what I've been doing for the last couple decades, I've been playing this game for a long time. So just, like I said, it's an honor, it's a blessing, but it's another game. Go out there and have fun and go enjoy it. It's a blessing every time I'm able to put on the uniform. So that's the biggest thing is have fun.
Absolutely, and that's really that's the main characteristic when it comes to baseball is you have to have fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because baseball is that sport, like other sports, but mentally, if you're struggling at the plate, you can't struggle at the plate and in the field. So that
Right.
means in the field you gotta be on times 1,000, or if you're
Mm-hmm.
struggling in the field at the plate, you have to
Right.
consistently either be getting on or you have to consistently get some RBIs, bringing runners in, etc.
Right.
The mental aspect of the game. Talk about the mental aspect.
Yeah, like you were saying, whenever one part of your game goes down, one got to go up. But I truly believe, like mentally, you got to keep your game sharp. You know what I mean? Like regardless of.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are here, episode 205 of 101 here as we start season 7. And I am super excited because we got the man, the myth, the legend, Nate Burleson joining us today. Nate, brother, how are you doing, man? How's everything going? And once again, thank you for joining us today.
What's up, family? How you doing? What's up to the Legacy Maker Network? I appreciate you having me on. It's a blessing to be on with you. 205, you said? Did you say
205, man.
205? That's
205.
beautiful, man. I know as someone who works in media, the long days and short nights, the work that people don't see, it can be hard. But it's rewarding when people start to tune in and really respect what you do. So I respect what you do. You wanted to have me on, and I'm here, baby. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Look, I remember in the beginning, I remember how hard it was. I'd be digging and like, hey, trying my best to bring people on. And as I've been able to grow in this industry and, get a chance to be on the NFL field every Sunday, and, it just really came to me at one. It's just been really nice to be able to reach out, get a chance to meet with people and talk with great people like yourself, man. It has been an absolute honor. Since I was a kid, this is all I've ever wanted to do, and I get a chance to live those dreams every single day. So I'm just like I said, I'm excited to have you on, brother.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to be here, man. Talk a little ball, get to know each other a little bit more, and kick off the season the right way. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's what we want. We want to kick the season off beautifully, and that's what we plan on doing. But before we get into all the fun conversation, let's start off with our favorite segment, or at least my favorite segment on the show, most important segment, the check-in. All right, Nate, the check-in. We got to check in on you, man. You, your
Yeah.
family, your friends. How is life right now for Nate Burleson? I know you do a lot of stuff, but how is life for Nate Burleson right now?
Man, life is really good right now. It's moving at a pace that doesn't seem too fast or too stressful for me. Um, you know, I always feel like life is going wonderfully when the people around me are happy. So when my
Mhm.
wife is happy, My kids are happy, my mom and dad, my brothers, my extended family, nephews, nieces, and friends. Like that's when I know life is good. It's not about earning money or being on TV, or even feeding my ego. For me, I find true happiness in being able to see other people shine or step into their calling, or just being able to bless folks, man. Like biblically, my name, and I grew up in a Christian home, so I've been told this over and over and over again from my mother. My name means God's gift, well born,
Mm.
and I didn't know the true meaning of it as it pertained to my life until I started receiving the blessings that have been bestowed upon me. So now I realize I'm just a vessel, man. Like, yeah, obviously I know how to spoil myself. Look at all the sneakers. But uh right at this point in my life, man, it's about blessing and showing up for others. So life is good, man. I feel good. There was a moment in my post career, my post NFL career, now media career, where I was saying yes to so many different things because I so desperately wanted people to know and see how versatile I am of a talent, and or as a talent. And I just wore myself thin. I started like losing my hair, started getting, these gaps and bald spots, basically alopecia due to stress. And
Mhm.
I remember going to a dermatologist and she was asking me like, so, what's different in your life? And I'm like, oh, I just moved from the West Coast to the East Coast. I'm waking up at 4 a.m. I started this new
Mm.
job, and it's a sports show on NFL Network. And I'm explaining all this to her. She didn't really understand sports too much. And she's like, oh, okay, all right. I guess that could be the cause of it. And I'm just talking to her so deeply about how I wanted to be good at it. And I thought about, this show 24/7, and it's been rough to get rest. And then she was like, well, that's it, you're stressed out because of that, and your body's responding. And I'm like, no, stress, no. I play football for a living. I had 250-pound guys that were trying to break me in half on a weekly basis. Like that was a crazy career. I played 11 years in the NFL, and that was stressful. And I was like, she's like, no, there's a difference. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, when you were just talking about football, you had a huge smile on your face, you were animated. I can see the joy all over you. But when you were talking about this show that you're doing, your whole disposition was different. Like even how you talked, your face was frowned up, your body was tense. She was like, this new path that you are on, it is taking a toll on your body. It turned into a therapy session. I went there just to get some steroid injections in my face, and I might as well just lay down on a couch. But it taught me a valuable lesson that, something my mentor said to me some years back. He said, there's a lot of power in saying no. Like you don't have to
Right.
say yes to everything. And once you get to that point in your career, and you've earned the right to say no, life will start to slow down. And that's where I'm at right now. I've earned the right to say no, and that's a good thing for me.
Yeah, I mean, look, you got it set up right now where you can, I don't say do anything, but you can pretty much do a lot of stuff that you would like to do. And I think that's very important. I mean, I think we've all been to those points where you're like, all right, where do I take myself at this moment? Like, what do I do next? I remember when I first started the sports network, the biggest thing for me was just trying to get established. Like you're starting from the ground up. You're an independent media. People have to look at you and like, are you legit? Are you just here to go to the games for free? What is it, that sets you apart? And it used to drive me insane. I drove everywhere in the state of Virginia,
Mm,
Maryland, go to DC to games, commanded at the time, then the other team
right.
at the other time. So going there, going to Wizards games, coming back, go to UVA games, go out to Tech, go here. And I was just driving. I mean, sometimes I did 3 games in one day. The game started in the
Mm,
morning, go here, do that. But it was a grind. So, it's like I knew that if I wanted to get to where I wanted to be, I had to do it. Then after a while, I'm like, all right, I got here
yeah.
now. I got here now. Let
Yeah.
other people
Right.
get the growth. And that made me happy. I was like, all right, I can take a deep breath now. So
Right. Right.
I don't run as much as I used to. I was
You
running
put the
ragged.
work in. Yeah, you
Yeah.
put the work in, man. You know what that grind is like.
Man, I ran ragged for like a couple of years. I was like, but you gotta slow down, man.
For
You
real.
gotta
I
slow
feel
down.
you.
But
I
yeah, so
feel you.
it's gotten a little bit better, Now, Nate, when you were 7, 8, 9-year-old Nate, where did your passion for sports come from? Like when it first hit you, you was like, man, I love sports. What was it that got you, to have that love for sports?
I grew up in a household with 4 boys. So we drove my mom and dad crazy, ate them out of house and home. We all played sports. We tried every sport: track, baseball, basketball, football. Um, so we were competitive in the house. My father played football. So I think part of us growing up, we all wanted to be like dad. He played in the USFL and the CFL for a long time. Went to University of Washington. That's how we ended up in Seattle. We were basically transplants from the Bay Area, and we were just following in his footsteps. Young Nate would tell you that he loves the NBA, he loves the NFL, but just like every other kid that says they want to grow up and be a professional athlete, I wasn't like the man. Like, some people you can see it, like some kids you can see it very young. I played with those kids. I played with them in elementary school, middle school, and high school. And I didn't really blossom until late high school, college. So, as passionate as I was about sports because of my father and growing up in Seattle, where we have a rich sports history, um, it was it was until later where I really started to, figure out what I wanted to do and how serious I wanted to take football. Because I was also in love with basketball. I was an all-state hurdler, point guard, and football player. So at that point, when I left my senior year, I had an opportunity to go to college to play one of the three, and I chose football.
Yeah, see, that's special, and you hear so many stories about that where it's like, oh, I could have went here, you could have went there. On the NBA level, do you think you could have made it to the NBA? With the
Nah,
skills. I mean, nah, come
like
on, Nate.
I listen. I say like my ego says yes, but the reality is not. Like there's a separation. Like my brother played a couple of years in the NBA, and then he went overseas and finished out his career. You know what I mean? Like I played against Jamal Crawford in high school. I had one good defensive game against him. Other than that, Jamal was a problem, bro. And that defensive game isn't even like me patting myself on the back. I just had one game where he was off. But in reality, like playing against Jamal Crawford in high school was probably the biggest like message to me as an athlete. That if I needed confirmation of what the levels of hoop were, that was it. At that point, seeing Jamal grow from this smaller, skinny kid in South Seattle to this magnificent high school player, electric. Like he was to Seattle, he was N1 mixtape with a little bit of like fundamental basketball with the sweetest shot and floater, and his handle was always phenomenal. So I remember seeing Jamal and playing against him, and even the game where I claimed I locked him down, he really was just off. The reality was, the other games I played against him or seen him play against other high school talent, he was so far ahead of us. So at that point, I was like, yeah, now it's down to two sports. I can either go run around a track and jump over hurdles for 4 years, which I wasn't going to do because I don't like running. Didn't then, and I still don't. So it came down to me choosing. It came down to me choosing football because I just thought go play point guard in college at 6'1", 6'2". That's decent height. I'm not saying it can't
Yeah.
be done, but it's decent height. You go play wide receiver at 6'1", 6'2". That's tall. That's a tall white
Yeah.
out in the NFL. So I made that decision.
And sounds like a smart business decision. You made a lot of smart business decisions in your career. Sounds like one one very strategic one with that.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, man, obviously you talked about going to college. You went to Nevada. Can you kind of tell us where that part of your career, from the college to the NFL to where you are now, and that transformation from that point to that point? Can you kind of give us like a little bit of a layout, a little bit of a journey in your eyes through that, how that started from there to where you are now?
Yeah. Even though I wanted to go play football in college as a wide receiver, we didn't throw the ball a lot in high school. I had like 14, maybe 16 catches my senior year. 7 of them went for touchdowns. So there was some type of athleticism that people saw. I also played cornerback. So I was getting recruited as a corner and a receiver. A lot of schools wanted me to come in and play corner, and I wasn't going to be dumping dudes for 4 years. So I'm like, you know what? Let me go somewhere where I can catch the rock. And I remember there were a handful of schools. Um, Nevada came in and they walked in my house, and the exact words of the coach was, how many catches you have your senior year? And I'm like, 17. He said, we'll get you that in one game. We throw the ball. At that point, Nevada was like top 5 in passing every year. They just were old school run and gun offense, that air raid style. Um, and in my head, I'm like, I'm going to Nevada, bro. Like, and it were like, my coaches were like, well, there's bigger schools out there.
Nah.
In my head, I didn't even really differentiate that. I wasn't thinking like, oh, I got to go to a big school to get seen. I just wanted the ball. Like, I have never been targeted that much. And it didn't happen right away. First year didn't play. Second year did pretty good. Had like 60 catches. Third year, which was my second year on the field, I had like another 59 catches. And then I went into my last year, which was my redshirt junior year. And I was working out with the team. I was also working out with a trainer. I was extremely focused. I was walking with the Lord step by step on campus. Like, I was on fire, man. I mean, on fire for the Lord. As a believer, there's moments where like, God is simply just using you as a conduit for what he wants in your life. And that's what it was. Like, I think God saw the work. I know God saw the work that I was doing, not just athletically, but also spiritually and academically. And I saw the fruits of my labor show up like they've never shown up before. I'm not really a big smoker, so I never really had to walk away from that. But like casual drinking, like college drinking, I was like,
right.
no more drinking, even if it's on the weekends. No partying. I'm a hip hop head. I threw away, I'm dating myself, but I threw away every CD that had curse words on it, which was tough because
Ooh.
CDs were expensive back in 2000. You know what I mean? I had my little
$20 a
Case
pop.
Logic. You know what I mean? I'm tossing them out the car because I wanted to be as pure as possible. When I talk to young people and I talk to them about discipline and trying to really find the peak performance inside of them, being pure in all these different areas. Even within my relationship, my girlfriend at the time, my wife now, we decided we weren't going to have sex. So we were going to be abstinent and try our best to not even put ourselves in that situation to be tempted. There were like at like 10:30, 11, we gave ourselves a curfew. If I'm at her house, I'm leaving. She's at my house, she's leaving. And we held that up all season long. So the reason I say that is because like everything I was trying to download, whether it was the word of God, whether it was my studies, whether it was me being an athlete and studying film, or me just, finally reaching this like crescendo of like young athleticism along with like platform lifting and training and then doubling up on the training with my trainer. All these things met and converged at one point and it exploded into a season that can only be explained by divine intervention. I had 138 catches. One game I had 21 balls thrown to me. I caught 19. The other 2 were incomplete passes that I couldn't catch. There were games where I would have, and then afterwards, I'd be in the locker room and they'd be like, you had 17 catches, right? And I'm like, what? Huh?
Did I?
Yeah.
Did I?
And it was, I think most of it was because I was like in a zone where
but because sports news won't stop, it's still work. But I'm happy to be here. Very, very happy. And hello to everybody.
How does it feel having a break? You know what I mean? How
listen, I had to really talk to like players and coaches. Like people are like, so you're just gonna go. You're just gonna ride it out the whole season. They're like, you just don't. Like you probably shouldn't. You know, it's like being smart about it. I mean, they're not off. They're off, but they're not off, right? They're still like working out, keeping up with their regimen, all of that kind of stuff. But I guess when it's like you get people of that caliber telling you probably should go ahead and just take your break.
Facts.
And this off season has been a lot different for me than other off seasons, which is fine, which is fantastic. But I said, you know what? Because once training camp hits and the season hits, that's every day. Like it doesn't stop unless I don't know.
I mean, I'm thinking the last time you had a break was when Washington had a bye.
Probably. And I don't even think we were coming from Spain. So it was like, I'm just trying to catch up on my sleep, to be honest with you. And then it was right back to work. It was right back.
But I mean, that is quite literally, and this is why we love Candi, and she's one of the best. She's the best out there. She's been going nonstop for like 7 or 8 months. It's like, I told you before that last show that you were on, I said, get some rest.
Yes, you did. I was going to need it. And, you know, the Commanders would have helped out a little bit better if they a little bit more if they were better. You know, once you're picking in the top 10, now you force to work all year long. But I'm still like working in the background. Like it was nothing that could happen in DC Sports News that was going to take me out of my element. I was like, I will see AJ DeBonsta whenever I see him. He's going to go and do great and do great things. I just like, I'm sticking with the Burgundy and Gold and the other NFL news that I cover. And I was just like, I'm working the boards. I'm over here with the TV. I'm over here with the Comcast people. I'm not like, you sure about this? I was like, yeah. So only a couple more weeks. So I feel good. I'm glad to be out and about on here with you all.
Well, we're glad to have you on. We got to talk business. We got to talk business now. We got to talk chicken. You know what I mean? Like, so the Commanders signed Raul Douglas to a 1-year deal worth up to $3.8 million. What was your first reaction to the Commanders signing Douglas? And do you think this it was a smart move by Adam Peterson Company?
Well, I mean, I had a couple all at the same time. One, it was, I guess they knew what they needed help with from a depth perspective. After they've watched the film, right? I mean, they did things differently, and that was one of the things that I asked Coach Quinn about in that last press conference, you know, when mandatory minicamp ended. And I shared, I said, I fully expect that they're going to watch this film. They're going to see what's going on. I mean, also be clear that I'm not saying anyone is injured, but what I am saying is if somebody were to be injured, we wouldn't know. That makes sense. Unless we saw it happen.
Got you.
They don't have to report on those kind of things. But I said, they're going to take a look and they're going to see what else they need. And so that was first and foremost. I said, oh, well, here we go. But I also know that this was a name that came up previously.
Okay.
And so I was kind of like, okay, maybe there just wasn't any interest there, or maybe they felt like they had everything they needed. And then the other thing is just wondering Trey Amos, you know, his trajectory of when he can get back on the field 100% and practicing. Like practicing. Like again, they don't have to report out on injuries or timetables or any of that. So it was like all of those at the same time. Hey, this is an area where they need depth. Maybe there was some injury or something else going on as on top of that they said, hey, I thought it was somebody who would have been a good pickup earlier in free agency. But hey, I think it's good. I think it's very good.
Was there any you kind of tackled some things which you were just discussing and talking about? Were they any with Trey Amos? I mean, obviously, you know, they don't not telling everybody everything, but was there even any speculation of him not being healthy enough going into the season, or that's unknown That was an unknown type of thing.
It's unknown. I think I kind of, once I realized he wasn't going to be available for OTAs or mandatory camp, like that, I was kind of like, oh.
Okay.
I mean, it makes sense, but we never really knew.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew, but we didn't know, if that makes sense. I mean, for example, Dietrich is still out, right? Yeah. And he was injured week 2. And so I was, they don't have to report out, but it does make me kind of wonder, like, maybe sooner rather than later, they definitely needed some help there in that position group.
George, you want to jump in?
Yes, I just look at this as insurance. Raul Douglas is there if Trey Amos isn't 100%, can't start the season for whatever reason, or God forbid, the Mikey Sanders still dip is more than just a 1 year and a Joe Witt thing, and something's gone wrong with him, and he can't ever be the player that he was as a rookie. So I love this signing.
Mm-hmm.
We all acknowledged, and I remember you did on your other show on the urban sports scene. You talked about the weakest rooms.
Yeah.
And there were 2 obvious answers: wide receiver and corner.
Yeah.
So the fact that we brought somebody in to help, who's a veteran, who's durable, Raul Douglas, I was just looking it up. The fewest amount of games he's played in the season is 12.
Yeah.
And he's had an interception in 8 different seasons, I think. That's not bad at this time of year to get a guy like that. I mean, who knows why he was still out there?
Oh,
I don't think. I mean, that's kind of a weird thing, because you'd think everybody needs one more good corner, because you can never have enough of them. But this is another one of those examples where Adam Peters finds a deal, finds a player that you're like, wow, he was unsigned, and then they get him, and he can maybe make a real difference for us. I'm very pleased with this signing.
I'll add this: the reason why, I mean, NFL is just a funny league. Well, most sports are kind of like, ageism is a thing. And he's not. I mean, he's not super old. He's not old. He'll be 31 in August.
Right.
So he's been in the league for some X amount of years, and so you don't want to pay that particular player, because he's been solid. You know what I mean? And if he was younger, putting up those type of stats, he would have been signed earlier and probably got way more money. But because he's 31, where he's at in terms of his in his career in the NFL, he's that pretty much slots him in a certain area. So I'm not surprised, because you got very solid play. What typically happens around this point in time in the season, the individuals who are like vets in the game, you wait it out, so they don't get signed pretty quickly. That's why if you said in terms of body of work, who's better between Amik Robinson and him, body of work, you would say Douglas is better body of work, but Robinson is younger.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm not surprised that it took this long. I mean, when you look at, to me, I'm not even looking at it as for Mikey or anybody like that. Just this signing is because of Mikey or anybody. It was just like when we talked about, as anybody has talked about, and not just my podcast, multiple people have talked about, like, the cornerback room, the DB room, whatever you want to call it, the secondary ain't the strongest spot for this team. It ain't the strongest to me. And I do think adding depth is important. I think adding a guy who has played well in this league, has had a season when he's had 5 picks, is like, all right, we can add this. We need this type of work in our secondary. And also, like, it's a vet. He can teach the young dudes how to, play in this league at a high level and for a long period of time. So I love it. Like you said, George, I like the signing. I feel like, and especially with Candi's talking about not seeing Trey Amos out there, you don't know how he's going to bounce back from that injury. So you just kind of covering your bases. Like, that's what you need to do, because a lot of folks thought, even in the draft, they wanted them to go after cornerback, and a lot of people weren't excited about Amik. You know what I mean? Like, they see positivity in him, but a lot of folks weren't excited about that. So I just feel like I'm gonna give Adam Peters his flowers. Like, because he's covering the bases. I get it.
Like I said, I thought it was somebody they would have picked up before, but as you all have both, have mentioned, this is around a time where vets can wait it out. And this goes back to the age thing. And we've talked about that a lot on this show, right? It's like younger, faster. Okay, but one of the things that I've been saying now is, but I don't want the Commanders to be the Spurs of the NFL. Like, somebody's got to have some experience. Like, somebody around here, because you got a coordinator who's new to play calling, right? Not new to NFL, not new to this space, but you're new to play calling, and you've gone from the oldest to the youngest on all sides. So who can really bring that veteran presence, durability from a health perspective? And when you just don't know trade status, I anticipate seeing him at the beginning of training camp, but if we don't, then it's like, oh, okay. All right. But I think it was good. It's very good. It's a solid pickup, a solid signing. Yes, he will be 31, as Wale said, later this summer, later this year. And I think that's okay. Like,
it's not bad.
It's totally fine. I think it's getting way too over with the age thing. I think that's fine. Like, I think there's reason for all that. You see what you have, you look at the film, and that was one of the rooms that did need some help.
Yeah, I think it's fine. Like, when I speak, I'm just talking about like where his contract and why he's out there in the market. I feel like you can definitely get a player. I mean, he can definitely stand out for this team. Someone said he's a starter. I don't know if he's a starter. I won't even say he's a starter. Well, he couldn't be, like, he started everywhere he's at. It's going to be interesting. Like, I just look at him. I look at him as insurance, but I don't feel like I'll say this much. It's hard to say that someone's a starter waiting this long into the year, right, to be signed. So it's to say they are guaranteed a starter, right? Like, multiple teams didn't bring him in because of the ageism thing. Like, and I'm being real, like, to be a starter. And I'm sure he was looking for a situation that was best for him to be a starter. Like, it's free agency. You got to look at your best spot. And I feel like this is the best spot for him, that he probably felt like, I got a real chance to be a starter or get a lot of playing time. That's for people forget about that. Like, if somebody waits, and we saw with Von Miller and a lot of folks, people wait out situations are beneficial for them too.
Yes.
Like, he's not gonna, like, there's a reason maybe he took forever to sign on said team, yet some teams offered him, the same amount of money, but he didn't think he had a great chance to be a starter in these said places compared to, like, here in Washington. He does have an opportunity. Trey Amos, we mentioned Trey Amos. We talk, like, Amik Robinson is slated to be the nickel corner right now. Mikey, right? Well, how it's projected. Mikey had a down year last year. Maybe you can take his slot. So there's just a lot. To me, if I'm a free agent cornerback looking for a place to start, yeah, I'm definitely tapping into Washington. I'm not. I get it.
Why not? And I think one thing that I know I've learned over time is that, to your point, Wale, as time goes on, it's not that people aren't calling these veterans.
Yeah.
They got options.
Yeah.
And they don't have to rush out there for OTAs and mandatory minicamp anymore because of their body of work. And because of their reputation. And then they can see, okay, what's happening out here? What is it looking like? Because around this time, and we'll see it happen, as you brought up, what happened with Von Miller. Things start to happen. People start to get hurt.
Yep.
People start, you can tell when the pads come on, they need some help over here, right? And then people start getting phone calls because they like, can you make a decision now, or we really still want you here? So he is a name that came up previously. I do know that. So the fact that he landed here is a good thing, very good thing.
So for you, how much does Douglas improve the team's the cornerback room? How much does he improve it?
I mean, it helps because I mean, when you go back, it's like, who we got?
Yeah.
Who over there? Let me look at my list.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm not serious. I'm with you.
Who over there again? Like, wait a minute. And again, this goes back to the way they had mandatory minicamp set up, where you really got to see, okay, these are the depth players. What happened last year? Sure hope nobody gets hurt. right? So they learned from last year. I really believe that starting that evaluation process, taking a good hard look at it earlier in the year, as Coach Quinn had shared with me when I asked him that question, some of that was what they would do in training camp. He did it in June, and that is a big deal to see what you have. So I think, it lets you know, and then you take another good look at that schedule and see who's on everybody else's roster and how things are shaking out. You like, wait a minute. These are the people that's got to cover these other, receivers on these other teams. So I liked it. When I saw it, I was like, oh, very good. Is what I said to myself. I was like, oh, all right, good. Very good. Good.
Do you? I'm gonna ask you this too. Do you think they saw something in like some of these, camps, like mini camp, or something that kind of sparked it? Okay.
I do. I think because that time period, I think some of what we all may have been kind of assuming or kind of guessing or whatever, it's going to come out on the tape.
Of course,
it's going to come out on the film. And then, of course, not knowing, well, we don't know Trey's status, but I'm sure they do, but I'm just saying, all things considered, 100%, I think so.
Yeah, George, you can stop in.
Yeah, no, I think the other thing that's interesting about this is that Adam Peters was very clear after the draft, we're going to add it to wide receiving room. But as far as I remember, he didn't talk about the DB room much at all, if at all, yet he's made this signing. I mean, that goes to Wole's question about did he see something at camp, but does it also go to maybe Trey Amos's rehab is not going as well as we would hope? Because I just find that interesting that did not speak at all about the cornerback room, and yet he goes and signs Raul Douglas, which is, again, very good signing to kind of get, in the first week of July, 2 weeks before camp. But we've all been hearing, we're going to get a receiver, we're going to get a receiver, we're going to get a receiver.
I think once you look at the tape, you got to know where your biggest, what you need.
One-back offense. The one-back is Riggins, and they get the ball to Riggins.
John Riggins was the leading ground gainer of the most prolific running attack the Washington franchise has ever had.
I came to do my job, ultimately. There's two ways to look at this. One was so I could keep my job. Yeah, that's true. But I think more importantly, the underwriting factor was those people up there and not wanting to disappoint them. Those people in the stands. There was an instant, my rookie year actually, with the Jets. Joe Namath enters the game, and I'm telling you, I get goosebumps when I say this. That crowd gave him a standing ovation. I don't know, it seemed like 10 minutes. But for me, it was like, I was awestruck. I didn't know stuff like that existed. And I closed my eyes, and I pretended it was for me. And so that's when I kind of understood that I'm in the entertainment business. And really, who really I worked for. Yeah, I got my check from the Jets, but I actually worked for those people in the stands. And it was always paramount to me to make sure that I put a smile on their faces if I could, because I was always seeking their approval. For me, there was a lot of anxiety because I always felt when I'd get down to RFK, I would go get a t-shirt and all that, and then I'd lay in front of my locker room. And those 2 hours, and I can say this to this day, were always the worst 2 hours of my entire life. Because I'd lay there and I'd say, oh yeah, today's the day. They're gonna find out I'm a fraud. Whoa, this ain't good. And that was constantly the feeling you took out. It wasn't like, all right, let's go, I'm ready to kick some ass. That wasn't John Riggins. That ain't the way I operated. I operate off of fear, I guess, and not wanting to disappoint people.
And we'll check the offense for the Redskins.
And the interesting part is when we leave the locker room, and I'm still defensive, ooh, I don't know how this is going to go today. And you get down there, and that particularly this was true, which I actually got to admit, I did love this part of it, when they'd introduce the offense.
Here are the Washington lineups then. The offensive backs and receivers, Theismann, Riggins, the lone runner.
And then that was like, whoo, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. But yeah, that was great. That was great. Applause. It's like there's nothing like it in my book. As I get older, I realize that those memories and what you're doing having impacted lives that people think so fondly of the days when they used to watch you play.
During the NFL playoffs, Riggins reintroduced to the NFL what nostalgia buffs may remember as the ground game.
In 1983, by now, it was the second round of the playoffs down at RFK, the year that led up to Super Bowl 17 that month. And we played the Minnesota Vikings.
With the Redskins leading 21-7, Riggins simply ran out the clock.
Riggins gets the carry, coming near side, cuts back against the grain to the 30, to the 35, breaks it loose to the 40. He's to midfield, down to the 45 of the Vikings. Big run, John Riggins.
I'd had a big game, carried the ball about 35, 36, 37 times. I can't remember exactly, but had about 180 yards, something like that.
John Riggins had carried 37 times for 185 yards.
So Joe took me out of the game so the fans could acknowledge what I'd done. And I gotta tell you, it was Shea Stadium all over again. And that's one of my favorite moments ever.
He gets a big hand and he makes a big bow.
And I've looked at it over the years and I realized how special that was. So much so, about 3 or 4 years after I quit playing, I was voted into the Ring of Stars, I think it is. Joe Theismann was one of the people that was going in. And so I got this bright idea that I would put on my uniform. And so I got my shoulder pads, I got my game pads on, I'm ready to go. And I run out on the field and it was just like, I knew this was gonna work, it was gonna work. And the fans just erupted, so I go over there where Joe is, and Joe goes, John, why? I said, I had to hear it one more time. But in those moments, they have the memories, I have the memories of that great moment where the fans acknowledge you. Those are the memories they gave me, and my teammates and I gave them memories, and all of us are going to cherish those for the rest of our lives. The best way to end this is for me to say, I was the Diesel, right? I became the Diesel.
Here comes the Diesel. Here comes the Diesel. Should come with John Riggins right up the middle.
Yellow 41!
There's the snap, and to Riggins, good hold. He's got the first down to the 40.
Well, let's just assume, for sake of argument, that I am the Diesel. Well, a diesel is an internal combustion engine, even though there's no spark plug in it. It still relies on fuel. But with the fuel, once it gets injected into the cylinder and the compression starts, that it needs one more thing, and that's oxygen. You can't have combustion without oxygen. And I say this with all sincerity. The fans were my oxygen.